Elliot Anderson, Ayoub Buadi, Rodri, Rayan Cherki. Say those four names together and something clicks. Because Manchester City are quietly assembling a midfield unit that has the tools to completely shut down the Premier League. If you're a City fan who has been waiting for the club to reload after a difficult stretch, welcome back. Because what's happening in this engine room right now might be the most exciting rebuild at the Etihad in years. Welcome back, Man City fans, wherever you're watching from today. Drop your country in the comments. I love seeing how far this channel reaches. And if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe, then tap that notification bell so you never miss a video the moment we drop it. Let's start with the headline signing. Elliot Anderson officially became a Manchester City player this summer in a deal worth £116 million, making him the most expensive British footballer in history, even ahead of Jude Bellingham's move to Real Madrid back in 2023. Think about that for a second. City didn't just want Anderson, they were willing to break records to get him, and they beat both Manchester United and Liverpool to his signature in the process. And when you watch him play, it's obvious why. At the 2026 World Cup, Anderson started every single one of England's matches in the group stage, holding down a midfield role for the Three Lions while still only 23 years old. That is not a squad player being given a chance. That is a manager trusting him with real responsibility on the biggest stage in football, in front of the entire world. Go back to his season at Nottingham Forest, and the numbers back up every bit of that trust. Across 92 appearances for Forest since arriving from Newcastle 2 years earlier, Anderson produced 6 goals and 11 assists, but the raw numbers barely tell the story. What made him a target for basically every big club in England was his work rate, his relentless pressing, his ability to win the ball back high up the pitch, and his progressive passing that turns defense into attack in a single movement. Scouts describe him as a midfielder who does all the unglamorous jobs at a high volume, with the kind of intensity that never seems to drop off, even in the final 10 minutes of a match. Comment below if you watched him at Forest, because Premier League fans outside of the City ground have been sleeping on this guy for 2 years. Now let's talk about the name that could complete this midfield entirely. Ayoub Buadi. This is a deal that Fabrizio Romano has confirmed is in serious and advancing consideration, with Manchester City pushing hard to beat Arsenal, Liverpool, and even Real Madrid to his signature. At just 18 years old, Buadi has already become one of the most talked about midfielders on the planet, and City are reportedly ready to pay somewhere between 80 and 100 million euros to get their man, with talks reportedly intensifying in the last few days alone. What makes this even more remarkable is what Buadi did at the World Cup this summer. Representing Morocco instead of France, despite coming through the French youth system at age group level, Buadi lit up the tournament with performances that had scouts from every major European club reaching for their phones. His run ended in a tough defeat to France in the later stages, but by that point he had already proven he belongs on that stage against grown men in the biggest competition in the sport. At Lille last season, he established himself as a genuine first-team fixture, someone comfortable dictating tempo, drifting past pressure with the ball at his feet, and still getting through the defensive side of the job with real discipline for a player his age. Some reports even suggest City want him to walk straight into the first-team squad immediately, rather than the loan-back arrangement that was originally being discussed. Subscribe if you want to be the first to know the second this transfer gets over the line, because it is moving fast and could change by the time you finish watching this video. Then there's Rodri. If you want to understand why Manchester City fell off the pace over the last couple of seasons, you don't need to look much further than his injury list. Back in September 2024, Rodri ruptured his ACL in just his third Premier League appearance of that campaign, and the impact on City was brutal. Without their midfield conductor pulling the strings, the team that had dominated England for years suddenly looked lost, finishing the season without a single dynasty paused. But here's where the story turns. At this year's World Cup, Rodri reminded everyone exactly why he won the Ballon d'Or. His performance in Spain's semi-final win over France, a dominant 2-0 victory, was described by pundits as an absolute masterclass, with Rodri controlling the tempo of the match from start to finish against one of the most talented squads in the tournament. It was proof that prime Rodri is still in there, still capable of setting the rhythm for an entire team the way almost no other midfielder in the world can. This is exactly why Manchester City must do everything in their power to get his contract situation resolved, because his current deal runs out in 2027, and losing a player of this level for nothing would be an absolute disaster for the club. Now, to be completely honest with you, because I'm not just going to tell you what you want to hear, Rodri is reportedly set to undergo surgery on a fresh injury issue after the World Cup, which could mean he misses the start of the new season entirely. It's a frustrating twist after everything he's already been through with that ACL recovery, and it's a stark reminder of how fragile his fitness has become in recent years. But when he is fully fit and firing, there is still no midfielder on the planet who controls a match the way Rodri does. That's not hype. That's what the data and the eye test have shown for years, and it's exactly why City are refusing to give up on getting him tied down to a new contract. Finally, let's talk about Rayan Cherki, the player who might already be City's most underrated creative weapon. In his first season at the club after arriving from Lyon last summer, Cherki racked up 9 goals and 11 assists across 41 appearances in all competitions, with a rating that placed him among the best performers in the entire league according to multiple stats platforms tracking creative output. What stands out about his game is the tight control in small spaces, the ability to dribble past pressure in areas where most players would simply give the ball away, and a genuine eye for the killer pass that most attacking midfielders in this league simply don't possess. He's not the finished product yet, and there will be nights where his end product dips, but the flashes of brilliance have already been enough to excite an entire fan base who watched Kevin De Bruyne leave and wondered who would fill that creative void. What's your favorite Cherki moment from this season so far? Drop it in the comments, because there have been a few genuine contenders. So how exactly does this midfield shut down the Premier League? It comes down to balance, and honestly, it's hard to find a genuine weakness when you break it down piece by piece. You have Rodri as the ruthless controller, the tempo setter who forces opponents to play at his pace rather than their own, dictating when the game speeds up and when it slows down. Then you have Elliot Anderson, who might not dictate tempo at Rodri's level just yet, but brings elite long-range passing, sharp tackling, and the kind of interceptions that kill counterattacks before they even start to develop. Alongside them, a young Ayoub Buadi offers a different kind of control, someone who can drift with the ball under pressure, dictate the tempo in his own unique way, and still contribute defensively well beyond what you'd expect from his age. And then Rayan Cherki sits ahead of all of them as the attacking playmaker, the one with the tight dribbling, the creativity, and the end product to turn a solid, functional midfield into a genuinely devastating one. Picture this in a 4-3-3. Rodri, Anderson, and Cherki as the main trio week in and week out, with Buadi ready to step in and cover for either Rodri or Anderson when rotation is needed across a brutal fixture list that includes the Premier League, the Champions League, and domestic cups. That's not just squad depth for the sake of it. That's 4 players capable of controlling a Premier League match completely on their own, all operating in the same area of the pitch, with different but complementary skill sets. Of course, nothing in football is ever guaranteed. Buadi's transfer still needs to be finalized, and there's genuine competition from some of the biggest clubs in Europe. Rodri's fitness remains a real concern heading into the new season after yet another setback. And Anderson still has to prove that his rise through the Championship and into the Premier League with Forest translates against the very best sides in the world on a consistent basis. But on paper, in terms of pure balance between control, energy, and creativity, this might genuinely be the strongest midfield group Manchester City have had access to in years, maybe even since the peak of the treble-winning side. So here's my question for you. Does this midfield actually have what it takes to shut down the Premier League, or is there still a missing piece that Manchester City need to find before they can call themselves the team to beat again? Let me know what you think down in the comments, and if you want more breakdowns like this, the moment Buadi's transfer gets confirmed, make sure you're subscribed, because this Manchester City rebuild is only just getting started.